Hi, Roy here on my channel Roy Reads Anything, and thought it'd be good to do a sort of roundup of recent reads. Not sure what day this will go out, so it could be like Monday maunderings or Wednesday witterings, but just stuff that's passed through my reading eyes. So jumping straight in, did a a group read of Elder Race by Adrian Tchaikovsky. So this was on Ollie's Patreon, Criminolly's Patreon. Yes, so Elder Race by Adrian Tchaikovsky was the chosen book for July. Quite a short science fiction novel. Now, Dr. Jenny has read lots and lots of Adrian Tchaikovsky. She reads him in industrial amounts.
She does.
Scarcely a week goes by without Adrian Tchaikovsky this, Adrian Tchaikovsky that. It's Adrian Tchaikovsky landfill over there. But I've only read one, which was Children of Time. Yeah, which I thought was really good. So yeah, no spoilers, but this partly because Jenny hasn't read it, even though she's the one who'd bought it for Kindle. So it's what shall I say? It's interesting stuff about huge disparity in technological development between one protagonist and the world that he is living on, and lots of interesting stuff about how his sort of psychology works, and there's stuff that looks like it's going to be fantasy, but it turns out to be SF. Yeah, I really enjoyed it. I would happily read more Tchaikovsky. Not sure there's much more I can say beyond without getting into spoilers really. But yeah, it reminded me of some of the classic SF sort of hard SF I've been reading, like Hal Clement, where it's technological problem solving is what's going on, except in this it's layered with lots and lots of other interesting sort of cultural stuff and character aspects that you didn't get in Hal Clement, basically. So yeah, I thought it was interesting concoction. So Elder Race, probably give that a 4-star rating. I wasn't particularly thinking of doing the BookTube at War event, but when I saw Tank in a charity shop for £1, I picked it up and started reading it, and in the end I read the whole thing. So it's a Corgi paperback from the 1970s, 76 I think. First in a series, Tank 1, book title Tank, which kind of amused me. And I'm not sure who does these paintings, but these very evocative of the many war novels from that period, when you could go to a bookstore and there'd be a shelf of war, something you don't really get anymore.
But what is it good for? I'd say absolutely nothing.
Well, I will revisit, because I've read some other war stuff as it happens. I'm going to do a whole BookTube at War video coming up, but for now, Tank was good. The only thing is I've got a bit of an earworm of the Wings song Jet, but with tank instead of jet as the word. Never mind. This showed up in the post, The Gog Magog Circus by Gary Kilworth, published by Alchemy Press. Again, I started reading it and ended up reading the whole thing and really enjoying it. So it's a collection of short stories about giants. Giants are the theme, and the stories there's 13 of them. A lot of them are, you'd call them fantasy. It tends to be real world or historical settings that just happen to have giants being real. So there's a little bit of a flavour of magical realism sometimes. Some of them are funny, some of them are tragic. There's some horror. Yeah, it's a great collection, really enjoyed it, nicely presented by Alchemy Press. I've got some others of theirs as well. So, The Gog Magog Circus, just out now. Really interesting collection by Gary Kilworth. Arguably the finest writer of short fiction today in any genre, says New Scientist. So I'll be looking out for more Kilworth. I'm sure I've read some stories by him over the years, but never sort of a focused collection. So that was really good. There was Judith Teaches. Well, Judith Teaches, a career novel for girls, got its own video, so I won't reprise all of that. Merely to mention, in that video, as the last chapter involves the characters from the novel going to the Alps on a school trip, I remarked in the video that I thought, why is it lots and lots of girls' school books have these alpine settings? Dr. Jenny riposted that this is just some bizarre idea of mine, and that apart from the Chalet School series, that isn't particularly a thing. However, I present into evidence the schoolgirl's own library, number 223, Bridesmaids of the Alpine School. So there they are, schoolgirls. They can't even, they have to wear skis. They can't even walk along the street like normal people. Things are so alpine for them. They need these skis. They're looking into a window of a dress shop, probably wishing they could wear normal clothes, but because of this alpine setting obligatory to the genre they find themselves living in, they've got to wear leggings and have sticks stuck onto their feet so they can move. So I'm still sticking by my idea that somehow alpineness dominates the girls' school genre.
Point of question.
Yes.
Mr. Host Man. Are they going to be the bridesmaids?
Yes. So, okay. Joking aside, it is a delightful school story featuring two fourth formers who were chosen to be bridesmaids at the Swiss wedding of their popular form mistress. Which sounds, in the avoiding favouritism department, sounds like a catastrophic error.
But are they going to have
their
to
pursuit,
wear the skis?
Ofsted chased them through the Alps. Yeah, they have to wear skis at the wedding. That's part of the problem. The skis keep getting in the way. So I'll probably have to read it now to find out what happens. Coming up, well, it's nearly Garb August, but there's not yet. So next in my reading plan is Peyton Place by Grace Metalious. Peyton Place, which was this book in this edition, I remember being seen everywhere, and a bit like this book, it was almost like every house had to have one in the 1960s. Peyton Place, super popular novel. There was a movie and then a TV series, and it became a byword for torrid happenings and kind of shocking things. It's frank, revealing, shockingly honest, exclamation mark. Teeming with incident and vitality, this big, richly diverse novel of American small-town life truly presents the characters in the full dimension of their lives, their corruptions and kindnesses, their high hopes and innermost secrets. It's got devastating candour and was a massive seller. There was one sequel, like I say, movie, TV series, so I've always been curious what it's like. She's doing this as a buddy read with MJ, so there's a thread on her Discord if you want to read along, or read along and we'll talk about it in the comments or whatever. So looking forward to that. One thing I like about Peyton Place is it gave the world a fantastic evergreen fashion staple, the Harrington jacket. The Harrington jacket. So Peyton Place TV series has nothing to do with the jacket, but I love the fact they've made a sort of, it isn't a TV tie-in cover, but they've put a sort of television screen shaped graphic to sort of associate it with the television, I think. because it was immense. It was one of those shows where it's like, you know, MPs would be questioning, how can you have this show that's so popular? It's ruining productivity because everybody's watching it instead of doing other things. Anyway, yes, so on the television version, the character Rodney Harrington, young chap played by Ryan O'Neill, wore a sort of golf jacket, and a enterprising clothing manufacturer in Manchester started branding their jackets of that ilk as Harrington jackets, and they became super popular, and they became, you see them worn by people like Steve McQueen and Elvis Presley, and then they became part of sort of mods, scooter boys, that sort of axis of culture. They'd be wearing them as well, and to this day you can get them, and they're really cool. So I love the fact that everyone who wears one of these is unwittingly cosplaying Peyton Place. So if you see, old school skinheads would wear them as well. So if, you know, with the sort of check shirt, jeans, braces, Doc Martens. So if you see a skinhead wearing one of these, point at them and say loudly, Peyton Place. They will appreciate it.
Don't do that.
This particular one, now you can, I should point out that some of them, the original company was eventually bought by a high fashion place, so you can spend anything between £25 and £360 on one of these. I bought a cheap one because I thought it'd be more fun, and it in a pocket will take a copy of not just a paperback, but a quite fat paperback, so it will fit my Peyton Place for sort of reading out and about. So that's coming up. Creeping to an end. So that I've got something to end on. Random sentence from a sword and sorcery book for your listening pleasure. In magical ships that breast the Black River, the sorcerers sail at will to other strands, and beneath their necromancy, to fulfill their wicked errands, the dead men swim without pause, for many nights and days, whithersoever their masters may send them. Good. Back soon with something else.